Hi, everybody. How are you? I certainly hope you're doing very well. And I'm doing good myself, trying to make it through the remainder of this hot summer that we have. And we still got a ways to go. But I do trust and believe that we're going to make it. First, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to each and every one of you out there for being so gracious in tuning in to me. I really appreciate it. And I certainly would like to welcome all of you to another episode of TJ's Topics. I tell you, it really means the world to me to have you with me once again. I consider it a joy, an honor, and a privilege to be able to come into your presence on any given occasion. I tell you, it really means a lot to me. And so I'm very thankful to be with you today, and I hope that something that is said and the topic that we're going to discuss will be one that will resonate with you. Now, speaking of the topic, my topic for today is, and this is something that many of you have probably already heard of. If you haven't, apparently you've been either living on the moon or you've been vacationing on one of the other planets. Perhaps you've been in another universe altogether. Because how in the world have you not heard of Project 2025? And that is exactly what I'm talking about today. Project 2025. The end of democracy. That's what we're talking about. And I tell you, for those of you who have not had an opportunity to Google Project 2025 and read through some of the things that they have on their agenda that they hope to put into effect upon the inauguration of Donald Trump, which we pray that won't be. But if it is, I would encourage you to go online right after you finish watching this program and Google Project 2025, because you need to know exactly what it's all about. And I'm here to tell you it's nothing to play with. Right now, on whatever day that you're watching this episode, we are counting down to Election Day 2024. And unfortunately, it's going to be another face-off between both Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And of course, a lot of word has been going around about Joe Biden's health, his mental faculties and everything. Is he going to be up to the challenge of another 4-year term due to his age and stuff? But then you got Orange Man, who we all know is wasn't fit to be in there the first time. But people don't want to get out and vote. And if people would learn to vote and realize that regardless of how it looks, voting does matter and your vote does count. Boy, but you can't make anybody do anything. So, it is what it is. So I just want to take a minute to give you the rundown on Project 2025. And then you can do your own research as well. And feel free to chime in and tell me what you think about all this. So here we go. What will Project 2025 consist of? Well, one thing they plan to do is dismantle our democratic institutions. They want to abolish checks and balances, chip away at church and state separation. And that's the reason why you see the GOP, the Republican Party, in various states around the country enforcing these different laws, you know, trying to put the 10 Commandments back in school, and they're trying to make the teachers teach from the Bible and stuff. Now, some people who don't understand what this is all about may see that as a good thing, as, you know, we had prayer in school and we had the Bible and stuff in school, you know, decades ago, but it was removed in like what was the early 1960s as a result of a lady who was an atheist, and she didn't want her children sitting under all that religious teaching, you know, Christian doctrine and stuff. Her name was Madeline Murray O'Hare, and she's gone on now. But she had prayer removed from school. But now here come the Republicans trying to put it back in school. Now, everybody's not a Christian. Let's just put that out there now. Every child who goes to a public school is not a Christian, and neither are they being raised by Christian parents. Therefore, they should not be made to sit under that type of teaching because it's against law. They shouldn't be made to do that. Everybody should be free to go to school and get their education. Learn reading, writing, and math. Those are the things that they're going to need in order to make it when they get out here in this world. Because when it comes to religion, that's a personal thing. You know, nobody's born of any religion. We're not born a Christian. We're not born you know, Baptist or Methodist or Pentecostal or Kojic. We're not born Presbyterian. We're not born a Muslim, or we're not born a Hindu or Buddhist, or we're not born those things. Those things are taught to us as we grow up. And then they want to impose a far right agenda, you know, basically taking away all the liberties and the rights that people have acquired over years, you know, civil rights and things like that, you know, and ostracizing marginalized groups, one being the LGBTQ plus community, you know, because basically what they're trying to do is take this country back to where it was 100 years ago in 1924. They want to go back. They're not interested in moving forward. They're stuck in the past, and they want to keep it that way. When Jim Crow laws were in effect, when and then check this out, when the so-called Negro knew his place. See, they can't stand the fact that black folks can drink from the same water fountain and use the same restroom and sit at the lunch counter and go in the same door as they can now. A lot of them, you know, they feel that way. Or they'll sweep it on the rug and pretend like they don't. But there are a lot of people who still have that same mentality as what they had 100 years ago. And that is so unfortunate. They want to eliminate job protections for thousands of government employees, ultimately leading to the termination of those employees and replacing them with people who are going to be solely devoted to Donald Trump. They want to make it difficult for people to come into this country, you know, immigrants and things. They want to slash corporate and income taxes. Now, I want you to keep this in mind, that income taxes, or otherwise known as payroll taxes, is what funds Social Security. Now, if Trump is allowed to get back in there come 2025, and he slashes those taxes, what do you think is going to happen to Social Security and Medicare? Because remember, he's already said that one of the things he intends to do is cut Social Security and Medicare, meaning that a whole lot of our elderly citizens won't be able to make it out here because some of them, all they have is Social Security to rely on and Medicare. most of them are not able to go back to work. And a lot of them wouldn't want to go back to work even if they could. I mean, if you have spent 30, 35, 40, 45, or even 50 years working on a job, whether it's one job or a series of jobs, and then you hope to retire and spend the last 2-3 years you got left on this earth in relaxation, only to end up having to go back to work and work out those last 2-3 years of your life and fall dead on the job. What kind of crap is that? But all that could happen if we don't get out and vote in November. Oh, I tell you, the list goes on and on. They're going to eliminate a whole lot of stuff, certain terms from federal laws and things like sexual orientation, diversity, equity and inclusion, gender equality, abortion, and reproductive rights. And speaking of abortion and reproductive rights, they're really trying to tighten up on women having abortions because, they're not in favor of that to begin with. They feel like women need to have more babies. They need to stop trying to get abortions and stuff. Now, let me point this out before I move on. The Bible doesn't even say anything about abortion. Have y'all thought about that? The Bible is not even vocal when it comes to what a woman does with her body in terms of having an abortion. Because again, that's an individual thing. And that should be between her doctor and herself. Nowhere at any time should the federal government be involved in such personal and private matters. But if we don't vote, that's what's going to end up happening. And let me point this out too before I go. Now, if Donald Trump is allowed to win a second term, of course, the presidential inauguration will take place on January the 20th. And that's always the day when new presidents are inaugurated into office, on January 20th. Well, this coming January 20th will be very significant because on January the 20th, 2025, which is on a Monday, by the way, it will be the third Monday in January. And the third Monday in January is when we observe Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And if he were alive today, this coming January, he would be turning 96 years old. And we're going to observe his birthday on January the 20th, on that Monday, 2025. That is when the presidential election is going to be. So if Trump is allowed a second term, he will be inaugurated on the exact day that we have set aside to celebrate the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I believe that Dr. King would be pissed off about that. Probably to the point of trying to cut a hole in his casket so he can get out of there. And his wife Coretta would be pissed off too. Not to mention their daughter Yolanda and their son Dexter. All of whom might jump up out of their casket and be ready to whoop somebody. So I'm begging you, please, let's get out and go to the polls in November and vote, okay? Because we do not want to allow Project 2025 to take effect. So on that note, I would like to say thank you very much for tuning in to this episode, which I consider a very special episode of TJ's Topics. I really do appreciate it. And please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to my YouTube channel. And tell your friends, share it with whomever you wish. And I really do appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you again soon, okay? This is Taryn Jerome Harris, reminding all of you that every round goes higher, and higher. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.